Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something that I kind of never thought I would be doing, and it's going over my entire physical TBR. Yes, we are doing that. I guess it can't be called my entire physical TBR because I am leaving out my fairy loot books because I am currently working on fairy loot purges. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to add those in there because I'm currently like shuffling through them. So that changes rapidly. And then I'm also not going to include the November or December fairy loot books because I'm currently reading through all of those right now as well. Then the other two categories that I'm not including are my nonfiction books and my, classics and my cozy mysteries, because those are kind of just there that when I'm in the mood for those, I pick those up. So I'm not going to be really counting those. The rest, that's all up for grabs. So we're going to be starting in the spare room, and then probably from the spare room, we'll go to my bedroom, and then we'll go up to the library, because I think the library has the most, this one or the library has the most books that I haven't read. I do think it's going to be the library. But that being said, we're just going to rapid fire go through all of the books on my physical TBR, and let's see how long this takes. I have a feeling this is going to be multiple days because I don't think I have the capacity to go over every single book tonight because it's a lot. I'm also not double counting books. That's the other thing. I have a lot of double copies of books, so only one per. So like I was looking at it, Strange the Dreamer, I have 3 copies of that book. I'm only counting it once. So that is also something to take into consideration. First up, we have my LitJoy editions of Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. Also, some of these are going to be out of order series, so I'm really sorry when that happens. Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, Misladen Parts Half Known, Ember in the Ashes, A Reaper at the Gates, A Torch Against Night, A Sky Beyond the Storm, Air, Starter Villain, The House in the Cerulean Sea, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, For Your Own Good, The Hexologists, The Iron King, Skyward, Sky's End, The Merciless Ones and the Eternal Ones, The Stranger Upstairs, The Last Word, An Easy Death, The Library of the Dead, and The Ravens. Rules for Vanishing, Delicious Monsters, which I'm actually reading right now, Dreadful, Descendants of the Crane, A Conjuring of Light, Gathering of Shadows, The Grimrose Girls, Make the Season Bright, The Fiancé Dilemma, The American Roommate Experiment, The Long Game, Truly Devious, That's Not My Name, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, and Aurora's End, Jester, My Fine Fellow, Thieves' Gambit, Sisters of Sword and Song, Swordheart, Nightweaver, House of Roots and Ruin, and Twin Crowns, Ocean's Echo, The Beautiful Maddening, and The True Love Experiment, The Righteous, This Cursed Light, The Book of Magic, and Magic Lessons, A Talent for Murder, People We Meet on Vacation, When I'm Dead, House of Marion, When the Moon Hatched, Mysteries of Thorn Manor, Half a Soul, Bloodleaf, A Dawn of Onyx, House of Beating Wings, Trowel of the Sun Queen, you can tell I got into my romantasy phase, Gleam, The Bridge Kingdom, Half-Blood, Buried Deep in Other Stories, If You Could See the Sun, Servant of the Earth, The Book of Azrael, Sophie and the Bone Song, Thorn, Nettle and Bone, Arch Conspirator, and Her Radiant Curse. We're not even close to being done this room yet, and I'm already tired because it's not going well. The Isle of the Gods, Funny Story, The Light Struck, The Marriage Portrait, The Dream Hotel, Wind Witch, The Black Witch, The Wind Weaver, The Fall of Ruin and Wrath, and Fable. I feel like this is a new level of torture. Like, I honestly do. Last Violent Call, Foul Heart Huntsman, and Foul Lady Fortune. I have so many editions of these 3 books. House of Blight, Bitten, and then The Poppy War and The Dragon Republic. Nevernight and Dark Dawn. No, I don't have book 2. I don't know what happened. A Dark and Hollow Star, Midnight, Realmbreaker, Empire of the Dawn, Threadneedle, Dead 11, Dark Age, and Lightbringer. Powerless, yes, I know, I keep putting it off because all I hear is terrible things. I will eventually get to this. Then we have the entire Legend series. So Legend, Rebel, Champion, and Prodigy. And then this is the part of the video where we get into all of the aardvark books because I have them all together to do an aardvark purge. So first we have Dead Money, The Drowning Woman, The Clinic, Lies and Weddings, My Vampire Plus One, The Bright Sword, Cassandra in Reverse, A Land So Wide, and Perfume and Pain, The Guest, The Lightning Bottles, Yours for the Taking, The Stardust Grail, What It's Like in Words, The Chateau, and Private Rights. You will see a couple more aardvark books, but they are newer books, so they were not included over here with these. Okay, now some of these books are going to look really familiar because they were just in the Purging My Library video. So a lot of these are going to be super unanticipated books that will be in like try a chapter videos. So like I said, they're going to look pretty familiar. Sword Crossed, Into the Blood Red Woods, Stain, The Love Curse of Melody McIntyre, again, don't know where the cover is, 6 Days in Bombay, The Last Murder at the End of the World, Leech, House of Dragons, Set Fire to the Gods, The Last Magician, The Night Circus, The Invisible Library and A Broken Blade, We Hunt the Flame and We Free the Stars, Girl, Serpent, Thorn, A Certain Hunger, These Vengeful Hearts, Retreat, Smile Beach Murder, A Study in Charlotte, Lavender House, The Hollow Kind, Extasia. Okay, now we're getting into a mix of stuff upstairs and a mix of things that I pulled off like last year that I still haven't gotten rid of. The Jasmine Throne, Renegades, The Beautiful Ones, Lessons in Chemistry, 28 Summers, The Wrath of Nikai. It's one of those like Arkham horror books. I kind of actually do really want to read this still. Loki, Super Adjacent, Secluded Cabin Sleep 6, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, A Perfect Marriage, The Sorority Murders, and Carry On, Dating and Dismemberment, Shipped, Fangirl and The Stand-In, The Royals Next Door, Just My Type, My Killer Vacation, Heart of the Moors, Daughter of the Deep, This Princess Will Kill You, Children of Ragnarok, Enchante, Sweet Nightmare, Dark Witch, and Mad Honey, A Magic Steeped in Poison, Hunterland, Eruption, As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, Honey, The Resort, She Started It, The Ministry of Time, Georgie All Along, and Jane and Dan at the End of the World. We have actually crossed over somewhat into Book of the Month Purge territory. All of these are in the same area too, so some of those are going to be in this pile. It's kind of a weird assortment of things. Bad Tourists, Other Birds, The Helm of Midnight, Blood Air and the Fascinators, 5-Star Weekend, Inkblood Sister Scribe, Margot's Got Money Troubles, The Holdout, Is She Really Going Out with Him? Okay, we're on to our final area of this room. I do actively think that this is the worst room in the entire house because I completely forgot about the piles of books that I had for the purging videos that were actually just stuffed in the corner over there that you can't actually ever see. But the last thing we have is the cart, and the top is like TBR stuff that is immediate. And then the rest of the stuff is stuff that I also am kind of thinking about purging, but I have more interest in it than what's over there. 11/22/63, Blood Over Brighthaven, Lost in the Moment and Found, Mistborn, The Swan's Daughter, The Poet Empress, Graceless Heart, Where the Drowned Girls Go, Bone Shard Daughter, and We Who Will Die, The Bone Witch and Heartforger, Bloodline and the Golden Lily, High Society, Last of the Talons, Looking for Smoke, Wrath and Mercy, Princess of Souls, Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, Soul of Stars, Say You'll Remember Me. I have 1,000 of these and they are all around the house, and no, I have not read a single one of them. An Unexpected Peril, A Murderous Relation, A Grave Robbery, and A Dangerous Collaboration. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, Projections, Last Heir to Blackwood Library, The Whispering Dead, The Infinity Courts, These Feathered Flames. And the last two for this room, we have Better Than the Movies and The Bone Spindle. It is the next morning. I really do think that first room that I chose to do last night, spur of the moment, is the worst room, at least just to get like stuff out of places as well. This room, I have this stuff, a couple things under the desk, in 2 carts, and that is it for this room. This room shouldn't be too bad because I do have my bookshelf right here, but it is entirely finished books except for the Fairy Loot books, and I already said we're not counting the Fairy Loot books because I'm shuffling them around and reading them throughout the year. So it's just that will constantly be changing. So basically at the end, I'm going to give you a number and then I'm going to say plus or minus, no, not minus, at about 20 books-ish. And that's probably the actual number, but I just don't feel like actually counting like the exact number because it's not going to be like the number that you're getting at the end of this video is lower than what my actual physical TBR is, but these are the books that I'm actually like are in my head for my physical TBR, if that makes sense. I know that's kind of weird. It doesn't make total sense. But anyway, let's continue. So let's talk about the books that are on my desk. A Death in Door County, How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates, Isle of the Ember Dark, which I actually just got, and it's so very pretty. Throne of Nightmares. And then we have like all of my Allurial books because I am doing an Allurial video. I just don't know when, so I'm okay with counting these. The Sacred Space Between, As Many Souls as Stars, The Lies That Summon the Night, Book of Blood and Roses, Half City, Dragon Curse, which I just got from a subscriber. I don't remember what video I opened this in, but I opened it in some video. A Killer Kind of Romance, This House Will Feed, Will of the Many, which I have another copy of over there, To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, Best Offer Wins, Rings of Fate, Most Eligible, and Meet the Newmans. Can You Solve This Murder, Forging Silver into Stars, Good Intentions, An Academic Affair, Good Spirits, This Savage Song, A Darker Shade of Magic, and Honey and Spice, The Coldest Touch, The Map of the Other Lands, The Gilded Ones, Mermaids Never Drown short story collection, Blonde Identity, Till Death, City of Mirth and Malice, Rise of the Dawnbreaker, Bound by Gravity, Curse of Shadows and Thorns, yes, Prophecy of Undone. If I start developing like a red mark right here, it's because I just rammed my head into the corner of my desk. So let's continue. Iron Gold, Wild Reverence, The Happiness Collector, Rouge, The Tainted Cup, To Cage a Wild Bird, Hollow, The Things Gods Break, Empire of the Damned, and Beneath These Cursed Stars, His Majesty's Dragon, Bone of My Bone, Vicious, The Summer Queen, Glint, Love at First Sighting, Nocticadia, Atmosphere, Local Heavens, Under the Same Stars, Curious Beginning, which I do have a second copy upstairs, The Dark Forgetting, Written in Starlight, and Aurora Burning, The Academy, Gleanings, The Assassin's Blade, Compendium of Lost Souls, Anathema, Moth Dart, A Fate So Cold, This Ravenous Fate, Project Hail Mary, Party of Liars, A Kingdom of Silver Shadows, The Intruder, City of Brass. We're back and it's the next day because I hate this. I hate this so much. But I did get the other half of the video edited already. So the whole other room is edited. Thank goodness. That's what I did most of last night instead of working on this. So let's continue. Let's finish up the bedroom. There's really not that much left in here. And then we have to move up to the library, which is what I'm scared of. The Everlasting, Hungerstone, A Perilous Undertaking, It Ends With Us, Isn't It Obvious, Leviathan Wakes, The Wolf King, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, Shady Hollow, Two Can Play, The Future Saints, House of the Beast, The Whispering Night, House of Bane and Blood, The Mirror of Beasts, The Gilded Cage, and Stolen in Death, Seventh Champion, Someone Knows, Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, Crown of Feathers, Wings of Shadow, and Heart of Flames, Revenant Games, The Bone Season, and Kill the Beast, The Dead Guy Next Door, Hex and Hexability, If We Were Villains, Royal Heirs, This Gilded Abyss, this one's hard to show on camera, Come Closer. You couldn't tell some of these I have started. You'll see bookmarks and tabs in some of these. The Austen Affair, Can't Spell Treason Without T, and One Bad Night. I am kind of almost done this one, but I don't know how long it's going to take, so I guess I'll still count it. The Winter's Promise, In the Veins of the Drowning, Boundary Side, the 3 books in the Magician series, so The Magicians, The Magician's Land, and The Magician King. And the final book of Downstairs, barring me finding anything super random, is They Wish They Were Us. We are back in my library. I will say the one thing that sucks up here is the air. The air is very loud up here. That is something that my husband and I have talked about. I'm gonna have to use from now on my little microphone up here, but I don't know where I put it. I don't know where I put it. So I gotta find that first. Kind of in the middle of starting spring cleaning-ish. We're starting to get rid of like a bunch of stuff, so it'll eventually turn up. But if I film up here, I'm probably gonna have to either wait for the air to turn off or turn it off myself or use my microphone because I have a feeling that the mic is gonna pick up that. So for right now, you may have to deal with a little bit of a hum, but just think of it as background noise. But let's start with, I think we're gonna start over here. Ugh. I'm just so excited anytime I'm with these shelves. Like, they're just so pretty. And I love how this is me talking about the library now. We were thinking about what curtains to put up here. And I'm kind of just in a debate what I want to put up here. If I want to put up something loud, like really fun, which I've always wanted to have really fun curtains. So I might do that up here. Who knows? I'm probably going to end up buying and returning so many different sets of curtains just to make sure I get the right thing. Anyway, let's start up here and we'll move around. The Impossible Imposter, Pride and Premeditation, It's Elementary, Murder of Mr. Wickham, The Case for Jamie, The Last of August, which my friend informed me after watching my video, that there's actually 4 books in the series, and I only have 3. Thanks, Alyssa. Thanks. A Sinister Revenge, Girl Forgotten, House of Leaves. Supposedly we will be reading this year. I actually need to start it soon, but this is hopefully going to be a Halloween vlog. We Love You, Bunny, The Voice Upstairs, and The River Drags You Down, How to Survive a Slasher, Don't Let the Forest In, Subcutanean, The Bone Houses, Mina and the Undead, Verity, Pieces of Her, Dead Lake, and House of Shadows, The Haunting of Ashburn House, Hunted, Parasite, Beguiled, and The Narrow. All of my itty bitty books. So Intensity, Hairpin Bridge, The Racketeer, Airframe, and The Silent Corner, The Hall with the Knife, and The Woman in the Library, Murder Game, 7 Dirty Secrets, Dark and Shallow Lies, The Killing Code, I Killed Zoe Spanos, The Agathas, Royal Blood and The Project, Sadie, Secrets of the Deep, and Summer's Edge. Down Comes the Night, The Therapist, One of Us Girls, and Deep Water, The Ballerina and The Ingenue, Silence of the Lambs, The Only Survivors, The Last to Vanish, The Last House Guest, Jacoby, The Last Housewife, Murder Your Employer, The Final Act of Juliet Willoughby, The Trespassers and the Likeness, The Seventh Bride, The Kind Worth Killing, The Haunting of Maddie Clare, and then The Death of Mrs. Westaway and In a Dark, Dark Wood, The Girl in the Castle, Wake, The Match, and The Boy from the Woods, Night Film. Okay, that is everything thriller and horror. Let's move over to fantasy. I'm actually really curious what I haven't read on these shelves because a lot of it is older stuff. So this can be actually really interesting. Watch Me. All This Twisted Glory. Is Infinite Threads. This is actually a DNF, so I'm counting it though because I want to retry the series. The entire Beautiful Creature series, which is part of a project I'm going to be working on. So Beautiful Creatures, Beautiful Darkness, Beautiful Chaos, and Beautiful Redemption. Bitter Blue, Truth Witch, Improbable Magic for Cynical Witches, Elysium Girls, Strike the Zither, The Book of Life, and Shadow of Night, A Rival Most Vile, Poison Study, For the Wolf, The Magician's Daughter, The Bear and the Nightingale, Bring Me Their Heart and Find Me Their Bones, Dark Water Daughter, The Mask of Mirrors. Oh my god, I forgot about my Cassandra Clare. Oh no. Clockwork Princess, Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, The Bane Chronicles, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, Chain of Gold, Chain of Iron, Chain of Thorns, Ghosts of the Shadow Market, and Red Scrolls of Magic. The Witch Haven, the Alexandra Bracken The Darkest Mind series, so The Darkest Minds, Ever Fade, and In the Afterlight. The Night Country, Tales from the Hinterland, Malice, A Day of Fallen Night, Broken Throne, and Gilded and Cursed. Next fantasy shelves on the other side of the room. The Starless Crown, The Emerald Sea, The Betrayals, Curious Tides, She Who Rides the Storm, Blade Breaker, Malice, The Way of Kings, We Could Be Villains, Cemetery Boys, and The Sunbear Trials, The Second Death of Edie and Violet Bond, Empire of Dreams, The Midnight Girls, Green Teeth, The Queen of Blood, The Third Daughter, Torment and Fallen, Harrow the Ninth. No, I don't own Gideon the Ninth. The Scorpio Races, The Left-Handed Booksellers of London, Sinner's Isle, The Bones of Ruin, The Executioners 3, Everything That Burns, A Ruinous Fate. Actually, this next one has a funny story. Lake Silence. I got this from I keep wanting to call it a charity shop because the people that I watch who buy from used bookstores call it charity shops because they're British. I've never heard them called that here in the United States, but I thought this was the first in a series, and it's the first in like a spin-off series of the original series, but it's like 20 something in a series. So I gotta read all those first. Blade of Secrets, Starbringer, The Blood Trials, His Face is the Sun, Five Broken Blades, Spark of the Everflame, Fear the Flames, The Notorious Virtues, When the Tides Held the Moon, still one of my favorite covers that I own, Gilded and Vengeance, Fireborn, The Curse Workers, A Wilderness of Stars, The Blood Trader, Arcana Academy, Rise of the Cinder Fae. I know I took this out, I put it back. The Coven Tendency, Black Sun, The Wickedest Town, The 13th Child, Dragon Fruit, Ladies' Night, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian, The Blood of Olympus, The Surviving Sky, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, Chilling Effect, Wool, Aurora Blazing, the Everlost series, so Everlost, Everwild, and Everfound, Magic for Liars, The Crier's War, Unearthed and Undying, Mindbreaker. Okay, we're on the home stretch. We're almost done. We've got the bottom shelf over here and then the rest of romance, but I think I've read a lot over there. So let's finish this up. The Gentleman's Gambit, The Heartbreak Hotel, Witchy Wood, The Paradise Problem, Love and Other Words, The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, Roll for Love, Love at First Fright. Okay, we have reached the end of the plugin, so you guys have to stay back there while I do this. The Wishing Game, Lady Tan's Circle of Women, Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting, Notes on an Execution, The Book of Lost Names, A Cup of Silver Linings, The Library of Lost and Found, and then the 3 books in the Paradise trilogy. I'm not pulling them out. Troubles in Paradise, What Happens in Paradise, and Winter in Paradise. Problematic Summer Romance, The Dead Romantics, A Novel Love Story, and The 7-Year Itch, How to Fail at Flirting, Rosaline Palmer Takes the Cake, A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem, Morbidly Yours, All Roads Lead Here, Kiss Countdown, The Wedding Crasher, Thank You for Listening, Well Matched, The X Talk, One Last Stop, Not the Witch You Wed, Dating and Dragons, To Have and To Heist, and the very last 2 that I did pull from my cozy shelf, but they're not actually cozies, Throne of Jade, and Written in Red, which is the first book in the Lake Silence thing that I said earlier. So that's everything. It's not everything, but it is everything. That's everything that we're gonna count. So basically, here's the number. Here's the number. Add about 20 to 30 bucks to that, and that's probably the real number because of the cozies and the classics. And if I somehow missed anything. But yeah, I'm never doing this again. I'm never ever doing this again. I hated every second of this video. Actually, I really enjoyed the beginning. Really enjoyed the beginning of the video. Immediately disliked it after about 10 minutes. Mostly it's putting the books back That's what's so annoying. And I have to go do that downstairs. There's a whole pile downstairs. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, looking at my shame. It also gave you, again, another peek at the library that I just keep showing in random videos, but never has its own video. But we'll get there once everything's finished. I still have a bunch of mess over here to get rid of. So anyway, make sure you subscribe to miss any future content. If you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, definitely let me know down below what your number of your TBR is. Hopefully it is not as high as mine is. And if you made it this far into the video, leave a, what kind of emoji? So what was the last thing? Written in red. Something red colored. Some red emoji. Anyway, that is everything I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.